What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, the New York State Boxing Athletic Commission is deep diving into the controversial decision and controversial fight that took place this past Saturday. That saw a fight that was heavily one-sided going into the fight, at least on the odds in the boxing world. In Vegas, it started off 25-1. Then it ended up being 16-1. Underdog in the situation where Gervonta Tank Davis was taking on Lamont Roach Jr. Gervonta Tank Davis is the WBA lightweight world champion. Lamont Roach is the WBA super featherweight or junior lightweight world champion. And they fought at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. And Gervonta Tank Davis came in this fight, 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 28 wins by way of knockout. Lamont Roach came into the fight, 25 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 10 wins by way of knockout. They fought twice in the amateurs. Gervonta Tank Davis was the victor in both those fights. With that said, this fight ended up nothing like what we expected. Lamont Roach, outside of himself, his team, and Shakur Stevenson, you had people saying that it could be an interesting fight, but nobody saw this taking place, where Lamont Roach Jr. arguably actually won the fight. He was countering Gervonta Tank Davis. He was hurting Gervonta Tank Davis. And then in the 9th round came the most bizarre moment, one of the most bizarre moments in boxing history, where Lamont Roach lands a double jab, missed with a right hook. And Gervonta Tank Davis takes a knee. Referee Steve Willis, who is my favorite referee, starts the count. Gervonta Tank Davis gets up, tells Steve Willis stop counting. He stops counting. He then goes and gestures his team to get the towel ready. He runs to the corner. His coach, Calvin, comes up the stairs onto the apron, and Tank Davis says, "Wipe my eyes. There's something in my eyes." Calvin wipes his eyes. Referee Steve Willis says, "What was that? You can't do that. That's a knockdown." And Tank says, I'm sorry. Lamont Roach is looking baffled. He already told Lamont to go to a neutral corner. And then the fight resumes as if nothing happened. The fight ends up being a draw, to which, if they count the knockdown in the 9th round, or at least take a point because he turned his back to action, his team came up on an apron and wiped his face, there should be no contact. That's illegal. That's a point deduction, unless the referee authorizes it or asks for that. If you have a cut, a bad cut, the doctors, the referee, they may converse and tell your corner to wipe the cut, or wipe, if you have too much grease, wipe the grease off. There's too much grease. They can advise it. In this case, Steve Willis didn't advise it. So it should have been either disqualification, a point deduction, or a point deduction for a double point, 2-point deduction for a knockdown. And neither one of those things happened. So the New York State Boxing Athletic Commission is now saying that it was a blunder on the part of Steve Willis and the whole technical team, and that New York actually has replay in those types of moments that they could have went to actually decipher what took place and make the right decision, and they didn't do that. So now the New York State Boxing Athletic Commission is actually considering overturning this fight and that knockdown, which means the 2 judges that had it a draw will now be considered an extra point to Lamont Roach which means Lamont Roach will win a majority decision. And the New York State Boxing Athletic Commission is actually mulling this over. Now, here's the problem. Gervonta Tank Davis has been a big deal when he comes to New York. He holds the gate, the live gate for the Barclays Center with $5 million gate. And the ticket prices are hiked up when he fights there. He's a big deal. If they overturn this fight, you best believe Gervonta Tank Davis will never fight in New York again. Gervonta Tank Davis will not fight in New York City again if they overturn this fight. If the New York State Boxing Athletic Commission overturns this fight, the mentality that Gervonta Tank Davis has, he's going to be very salty that he has a loss on his record, that they overturned it. He already took to social media and he said that they penalized him and they called it a draw for that BS knee he took. He's not taking accountability. Although he did state, I know I shouldn't have did it, but there should be no buts. You did it. It was a infraction. There's a foul on the play. That's it. That's all. You should have knew the rule books. Your team should have knew the rule books. Period. Period. There's no such thing as a BS knee. It's illegal. Period. You cannot call a timeout. He tried to call a timeout. So you best believe if the New York State Boxing Athletic Commission overturns this fight, Gervonta Tank Davis won't agree to fight in New York anymore. He's going to say and cry foul and say that they set him up. He won't fight here ever again. Remember, he said the New York State Boxing Athletic Commission was setting up Ryan Garcia when Ryan Garcia tested positive for a banned substance. Keep that in mind. And that's all I got for y'all. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. I'm gone. Peace.